I go to work to everybody. I told my fellow friends when I go like this, they should start singing. So I think maybe now is a good time. I go to work, b'shus v'shivas, b'shus the Brazilian board, b'shus all the chashurim that I hear for Shabbos. It's a schus my parents are here for Shabbos, so b'shus my parents. Somebody once came to the Chavetz Chaim. He said to the Chavetz Chaim, Rebbe, have a shayla. I'm involved with so many different organizations, so many different projects. I'm not exactly sure what my limitations are, but there's a certain project that they want me to get involved with. Should I or shouldn't I get involved? So the Chavetz Chaim answered in a famous marshal. He said, there was once a king that used to go periodically visit, some of his people in his kingdom. One day he knocks on the door, and he sees this, the fellow opens the door, he sees the king outside. He says, Sure, Melech, come inside. He invites him inside, puts him at the head of the table. He says, Melech, what can I get you? He says, a cup of water would be sufficient. A cup of water that he can handle. He goes into the kitchen, takes a plastic cup, opens up the sink, comes back with a cup of water to the king. So the king says, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It was a great hospitality. is huge. But as I was walking in, I saw you had a nice well. I'm sitting in your dining room. I see you have nice china. Maybe, a little bit more covered if you would have given me water in a glass or from the well. But thank you anyways, and he left. A few weeks later, there's a major fire in the kingdom. And there's catastrophe, and there's the kingdom is burning, the palace is burning, homes are burning. Everybody's outside running with its buckets. The king himself has a bucket of water. He's running outside. In the corner of the eye, he sees the Yid standing by the sideline. So he goes over to the Yid and says, Yid, I don't understand. There's a fire. My palace is burning. Your kingdom is burning. Your homes are burning. Where are you with the water? So he looks at the king a little bit confused and bewildered. He says, honestly, you were in my house a few weeks ago, and you told me to only serve you in glass and water from a well. So I decided I can't contribute to putting out the fire. So obviously the king looked at him as a nar. He says, when there's a fire burning, we just need water. So I want to make a disclaimer here this evening. I'm not in a position here at all. There are so many bigger askanim here than I am, especially a lot more chashuvim than I am. I'm just a guy with a cup of water, trying to put out some fires, making my ishtalos. Somebody asked me, the topic I want to talk about tonight is very negated to Torah Umesorah. Somebody asked me, what's this Torah Umesorah President's Conference? Sometimes you have conferences, all the rich people get together, it's like a big party for the rich, everybody gets up, says what they did, says what they accomplished. Is this one of those things? So I said, the Torah Umesorah President's Conference, in my opinion, is the following. Besides the fact that it's a Shabbos where you have the Gedolah Rosh Hashivas here, and from the second you enter to the second you leave, you can absorb Das Torah to the fullest extent. And besides the fact that it's a Shabbos where you have, I would venture to say, and maybe even go on record from the biggest Baal Chasadim in Klal Yisrael here the Shabbos, that don't just talk the talk and walk the walk, put their money where their mouth is. I'm the schus to Baruch Hashem to sit on the Brazilian together with Rabbi Ron Fuchta and Rabbi Yanka Reichenbach and the other Balabantim amongst here tonight. And I can tell you, I sit at a meeting, I'm the youngest of the group, and we tackle an issue. And Rabbi Avram and Rabbi Yanka look and say, well, that's all we're going to do. They come up with things, first of all, that cost way too much money for these meetings. And they're so involved, and when you think you hit its peak of chesed, no, they come up with a new chiddush. There's a new way to help the seed. So just the fact that you hear this Shabbos under the same roof with such das Torah and such an unbelievable, innovative people when it comes to chesed, that would be alone. For that alone, it's kedai to come for Shabbos. Besides the fact that it snowed in New York, it's 80 degrees here, that's also a good reason to come for Shabbos. But if you ask me what Shabbos, this Shabbos is all about, you're sitting in a room of people that have one goal and one common denominator. They want to ensure the safety and the future of Klal Yisrael. Everybody here doesn't have a cup of water like me. They have hoses. They're ready to put out the fires in Klal Yisrael. This Shabbos is a Shabbos with one of the most innovative programs was born in Shabbosim like this. You take the yeshiva, they raise the Rebbeim program. We had to raise $66 million. We Baruch Hashem raised over $20 million. They told us last year we're nuts. It's never going to happen. We raised 20. We're short. We're going to raise it. We have Rabbi Blum took the bull by the horn, and it's amazing what has been accomplished. The Torah, the Gemach. The Gemach is going to run out of my office, and this is a credit to Rabbi. And we have over $1 million out there, and we have not one loan from a Rebbe, one check that ever bounced. Over $1 million already. That's out. It's amazing. I didn't want to do the loan. I thought we're going to get checks are going to bounce here like basketballs. But you know what? Not one check bounced. This Shabbos, Torah Umesorah takes the impossible, takes the vision, and makes it reality. So if anyone asks you what this Shabbos is all about, it's the impossible vision to reality. This is what Torah Umesorah is all about. So I want to touch upon a topic. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. And again, it's not me. I'm just a messenger here. I'm looking to reinstate what was. We take for granted, we make the assumption that every single child understands Pashut Perish Hamilos. Ask a child to teach you Moedani. We make the assumption, it's nobody's fault that they don't know, but make the assumption that they know. We take for granted that every bacher understands Pashut Perish Hamilos. And if you don't understand what you're saying, you can't be connected. The Chofetz Chaim says the only way to be connected to Rebbeinu Shalom is with tefillah. But if we're not connected, if we don't know what we're saying, how can we be connected to Rebbeinu Shalom? Ask the average bacher the tacha you can pork on. I don't know, you can pork on some type of sushi, they think. Well, you can pork on, you say before Musaf, after Musaf, it's together with Avraham, they don't know. But you ask the average guy to teach you Ashrei, they don't know. But Pesach, Hasidecho, there's not enough room with the shul. Everybody's opening up their hands. Cash is king. Everybody knows what they want to know. Pesach, Hasidecho. But all the other halalukas, we don't know what we're saying. We don't know. We don't know what we're saying. And I did a survey over the last X amount of months. I was speaking to Bachim, over 100 plus Bachim. And you know what the survey says? We don't know. It's very possible. We just don't know what we're saying. It's nobody's fault. We take for granted and we make the assumption that we understand Perish Hamilos. And I want to tell you, we don't. It's sad, but we don't. I wasn't going to talking about davening. But it was brought up over Shabbos, so you know what, now you're going to get a little bit. If we don't know what we're saying, you can't be connected. And if you're not connected, if you gave me a siddur in Chinese, and say for the next 2 hours, I want you to say these Chinese words, not to see what a Slav is, and shuckle so it looks good for Shidduchim, and do all the things, right? It doesn't work. We don't know what we're saying. So how can we expect to come to Shul and not to talk? So I just want to go off a little bit, talk about the no talking by davening. Somebody once came to Rebbe Kiva Eger, it's a famous Maisa, and he tells Rebbe Kiva Eger, he says, Rebbe, you should not have terrible news, I'm sick. So the Rebbe said, Rebbe Miller says to him, comes to Rebbe Miller and says, so what's wrong? He says, so he says, where do you daven Shabbos? He says, I daven in this and this place. Is there talking by davening? He says, yes. So he says, B'kuach nefesh, you have to leave. You have to leave now. But Rebbe, I don't talk. There are other people that talk. I'm good by davening. He says, but the other people on my Ne'eh Tfilas from going up to Shemayim. Leave today. Can we imagine Menei somebody else's tefillos from going up to Shemayim? Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz writes that if you talk by davening, a cloud goes over your head and doesn't allow your tefillos to go up to Shemayim. You can come up after 120 years old and not daven one tefillah in your life. Forget about knowing the brachas, the first bracha Shemoneh Esrei. If you're Yotze, if you're not Yotze, you have to know what you're saying. But you don't, 120, you daven, sure, I came to shul 3 times a day. You didn't daven one tefillah in your life. Not one tefillah. Rav Shmuel Vosner writes in his sefer, I was a little bit reluctant to say it, but he writes it. It's him. Don't kill the messenger. Very posh. The machlis today are because there's talking in shul. He writes it. I'll give you the Maramokim. Now, the Eibush is allowed to say no. And the Eibush says no. And we have gezeres, and there are gezeres out there. But there's one thing clear. Talking by davening, you're standing in front of a bus that's coming 100 miles an hour. You have no excuse. You're going to get hit. That's it. End of story. Look what happened Tach V'Tat. Tach V'Tat, 1600s. Thousands and thousands of Yiddish kids were massacred. Thousands. Men, women, children were killed. Toises Yontif. He had a cholam. I didn't have the cholam. He had the cholam. And you know what he said? He said the Eibush came to him in a cholam, and he said that the reason why there was this gezerah, that thousands of people were killed, because there was no kvoid beis Hashem. No kvoid beis Hashem, so we lost thousands, one of the biggest massacres in history. Thousands of kids were killed. Why? Because we were mezalzel kvoid shemayim. So we come into shul and we talk. Eyumanei and his tefillas. Second, who knows what type of gezerahs we're causing? Where's our shtadlus? Avad the Eibush says can say no, and avad if the Eibush says no, it's the same as the Eibush saying yeah, because we don't know the Eibish's cheshbonis. But where's our shtadlus? So the Tosis Yonta writes in Mishaberach, and in the Mishaberach he writes that if you don't talk during davening, you're going to be zocher to all the brachas in the Torah. I don't know about you. I want to be zocher to all the brachas in the Torah. He says you'll be zocher to all the brachas in the Torah. He says you'll have a shmir for machlis, mikol tzora, v'tzukah. Can you imagine the Tosis Yontif? Take it to the bank. This Tosis Yontif, if you makabel, you can take to the bank. And if it doesn't work, you can go to his keva in Krakow and you can say, Rebbe, you promised, I need help. And you'll have a Yeshua. Take it to the bank. That's what he says. This past summer, I was able to go to Krakow, Vob El to the Tosis Yontif's Yotzai. So we were there for Shabbos. And then we went to Radomsk. And in Radomsk is buried the Torah Shlomo. I'm going to say over this word because if not, you would have a time into me. It changed my life when I heard this word. The Torah Shlomo says like this. They say the Heilige Rebbe Chaim sent the Torah Shlomo. I don't know what this means, but they said on him that he had the key to Shefa. He was a very wealthy man. He supported 30-something yeshivas. He knew the key. He had the key. That's what they say. The Heilige the Sanzerov said that he had the key to Shefa. It's unbelievable. So he writes like this. He says, when a person davens and the person nebuch is sick. So he says, I, Reuven, I'm sick. Rebbeinu Shalom need help. I, Shimon, I need to make money. But the Eibush is not. Maisa we see. He's not being helped. He's not making money. So the Torah Shlomo says, the Gevurt. I'm telling you, this changed my life and when I heard it, and you're going to thank me for hearing it. He says, when you daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom, you say, I, Reuven, that I'm sick. I want to be better. So the Eibush says, okay, Reuven, I know that you're supposed to be sick. I don't think you have to be better. Shimon, I know that you're not supposed to make money. But the Torah Shlomo says like this. Listen to every word. He says, if Reuven tells the Eibishter that I am sick, and I know that I'm sick, and I believe that I'm supposed to be sick, and I'm makabel that I'm supposed to be sick, but the fact that I'm sick, I'm causing you, the Eibishter, tzar that I'm sick. Because no father wants their kid to be sick. I'm causing you, Rebbeinu Shalom, tzar that you're sick, so mainly make me better. If you bring the Eibishter into your tefillah, it's not about you, it's about the Eibishter. He says, Bodek and Menusa, you'll have a refuah. Shimon doesn't make money. Why does he want to make money? You want to do all the whatever, things that you shouldn't be doing with the money? But if Shimon tells the Eibishter, I want to make money because I want to be able to give tzedakah. I want to make money to give you nachas ruach to Rebbeinu Shalom. I want to make money so I can come to a Pesach. I don't have to sit and fetch about how much my matzahs are. And I want to make money so I can pay my full tuition. And I want to make money so I can give you Rebbeinu Shalom nachas ruach to the Eibishter. The Eibishter will give you the hashpois that you need. Ma'adik, I heard that, it blew my mind. Poshet kavonas and tefillah. B'nai Yisrael says before you open your mouth to daven, you have to say, Ani mamen, that I know whatever I'm going to ask from you, the Eibishter can give me. So I'm now, that was a little off. Now I'm going to get back onto the topic. So I want to preface, there was a famous, unbelievable Maisa with the Balditcheva. And the Balditcheva used to travel from town to town. And one day he used to there was a minion called a Matzah minion, 80 minutes, start to finish. They have it in Flatbush all over. It was 1, 2, 3, you start, you finish, the Shachris is over. So he went over to the Rav of the Shul. He says, Rav, I don't understand. I can't even put on my tefillin as fast as we finish davening. What's this whole thing, 18 minutes and we're done, really? I mean, yeah, a little bit maybe karbonis. Rabbi Zundel said that he never missed karbonis in his life. Karbonis took him 18 minutes. So there was a Yid that went over to the Baditcheva, and he tells the Baditcheva, I don't understand, Rabbi. When the baby cries in the carriage, the parents understand what they're asking for. So we're the same way. It was Malabatzkos. So the Baditcheva said it's kedai that this Yid lived the 70, 80, 90 years to keep on being Malabatzkos on Klal Yisrael. And we have to be Malabatzkos, that the people that talk don't know what they're saying. And they're sort of crying out, please help me because I want to daven, because if I knew that I'm fighting for my life. 3 times a day, the Eibusha says, come fight for your life. You don't need connection, you don't need money, you don't need pull, you don't anything. Come, when I say you should daven to me, tell the Rebbeinu Shloim, there's a saying, don't tell Hashem how big your problems are, tell your problems how big Hashem is. Come to Shul and say, Eibusha, here's my issues, I'm putting myself in your hand. Avad, if they knew that, they wouldn't be talking. So Shalom Shadron said on this story, he said, that's good if the baby is 1. Baby's 2. But if you're 30, 40, 50 crying in the carriage, we have some serious issues. We're creating a generation of 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, and we're crying in the carriage. We just push it, don't know what we're saying. It's a little Havana. It would go a very long way. Rabbi Yomer Rabinovich was the Issac in Eretz Yisrael from the Eidach HaRedis, Paskand. Yishav Chavrusa, twice a week in Perish Amilas. Taich Moida Ani. I guarantee you, if anybody tonight in the audience, go through the Siddur and see how many Taich words you know. It's not a bad thing. It's nothing wrong. We have to fix it, and we will fix it. But we have to understand that there's an issue. So, to be honest, the Rabbi Yomer Rabinovich wrote that you have to be Chavrusa learn twice a week, Perish Amilas. The Yisrael Church Rabbi, the rice before Yontif, 30 or 40 days before Yontif, you're supposed to go through the Magza. If it's Yosis, if you don't say Yosis, whatever it is, whatever you're going to daven, you should learn. It's not a big kunst to come daven 8 hours from Nesha Al-Chet and have 16, 17 Svarim there, Al-Chet and cry, no, if you don't know what you're saying. You have to be prepared. You have to know, you have to be prepared. We're fighting for our lives. The Sefer HaChinuch writes that the Eibishter wants everybody, everywhere, this room to have Shefa. And the way to have Shefa, the conduit to Shefa is through Tefillah. And then I saw Mardi Meiri. The Meiri was a Rishon, blew my mind also. He says the Meiri writes that if a person davens, you can change your mazel. It's a Meiri, it's a Rishon. That means if a person is not a Bal Mazel, and you want to change your mazel, you daven to the Eibishter. So how can you come to Shul? We don't know what we're saying. You don't know what you're saying. We're not connected. We run into a whole slew of different issues. There's a Chazon Ish that I heard. Rabbi Gamliel Rabinovich is my Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael. I go there pretty often. He told me that he heard from Rabbi Zundel. The Rabbi Zundel heard from the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish said that his Yegiyah in Tefillah was stronger than his Yegiyah in Torah. It's a Chazon Ish. His Yegiyah in Tefillah was stronger than his Yegiyah in Torah. Again, it's not my Torah. This was the Chazon Ish. So I'll tell you the truth. I don't really have a solution to the problem. I don't. I know there's an issue, and I as a Baal Boss know my limitations. I'm not here to give dayas. You want to buy a nursing home, you come to me. When it comes to chinuch, I'll come to you. We have here executive directors. We have here mechanchen. We have gedolei rosh yeshivas. And we need your help. We push and need your help to make this work. So I created an email called understandingdavening@gmail.com. It's filtered, don't worry, it's all filtered. Understandingdavening@gmail.com, where we can get any ideas. I would like to create a board of Rabbeim or board of executive directors or mechanchim to give me eitzes. We need eitzes. If I have eitzes, we can take the impossible and make it reality. But I need your help. we have to be mevatel adas to the people in this room. And I especially, I'm mevatel adas to anybody that's an executive director, a rebbe. I don't know how you guys do it, I'll be honest with you. It's very difficult. And whatever we raise in the rebbeim program, I promise you it's not enough for what you deserve. But we need your help. So I'm appealing to everybody in this room. Help us make the change. We'll get it done. I just want to end off with a Maisa with the Satmar Rebbe. Satmar Rebbe after the war. So some of his Hasidim didn't have so many Hasidim. So his Hasidim came over to him and he said that, they want to learn a little bit. So they said, fine. They created a share, and it were 5-6 people at the share. I mean, you have more people by your share, the wife, more than 5-6 people. But they were like fine. There were 5 people came out of the war. There was 50 people, 10 people. So the first day, the Satmar Rebbe didn't learn. He goes to Reuven, what's your name, where you're from, goes through a whole dialogue with him, his whole history. Second day, he goes to Shimon. Third day, goes to Levi. After the week, the last person goes, says, Rebbe, I don't understand. I would like to, we would like to learn a little bit Torah. So the Satmar Rebbe says to them, you have to understand something. So there's Chov Beis Oisius in the Torah. The Gemara starts with Daf Beis. Where's Daf Aleph? Whatever the Daf Aleph. And they look, Daf Aleph, I don't know. Where is it? So the Satmar Rebbe tells Daf Aleph is the kesher between the Rebbe and the Talmud. Without that kesher, you cannot learn Torah. Our Daf Aleph is our tefillah, the kesher we have with the Rebbeinu Shalom. If we understand what we're saying, and I think we can pull it off, it's not going to cost a lot of money, which is also a good thing. It may not cost any money at all. And we can roll out a global program, a program individual based for the yeshivas. And if there are schools that are already doing it, let us know. We'll copy some of the programs. We're open to any idea possible. But if anybody leaves tonight, just with the notion knowing that something has to be done, and the onus is on you, because Umesorah will do again the impossible, whatever has to be done. Any ideas you have, let us know. But Daf Aleph is our tefillah with the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm going to give everybody here Bichas Hadid. You won't find a bigger Hadid than me, I promise. We should be Zoicha to have an unbelievable kesher with the Rebbeinu Shalom. We should be connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That will lead into the Amunah with the Rebbeinu Shalom. And we should be Zoicha that our tefillahs as a group, as Klal Yisrael, Hasidish, literature doesn't make a difference. Whenever there's a tzara, a WhatsApp goes out in 10 seconds, and you have 50,000 people davening. Why? Because the Eibishter wants our tefillahs. Chazal tell us, be proactive in our tefillahs. Don't wait till tragedy strikes. Be proactive. We should be Zoicha as a group, as a klal, to be Zoicha to have the ultimate tefillah. And the ultimate tefillah should be accepted. And we should be Zoicha to see Mashiach Tzidkeinu Mehev Amen. Thank you.